All right, welcome to the next video in our series. Today we're going to talk about writing a blog post. So when you're constructing a blog post, you need to remember that writing for the internet is much different than writing a term paper or an essay. But a lot of the information that you learned in school about writing can be put to use here too. So let's talk about the parts of the blog post. You have the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So with the introduction, you want your main keywords to be in the first few sentences of your piece. First sentence, second sentence. You might have more than one keyword that you need to hit. So those should be in the first two sentences. You need a hook. So your hook sentence is what's going to draw the reader in and make them want to read the post. You want them to feel invited to read further. So it's certainly perfectly fine for you to ask them to join you as you explore a certain idea or concept. I might write something like, let's take a moment and look at whatever it is more closely, something like that. You want to keep your introduction short but sweet. Your paragraph should only be maybe a few sentences long, 3 to 4 sentences is good. Make sure you keep the sentences short. So less than 20 words is ideal, 20 words being the max for most of the sentences that you're going to be writing. So that's the introduction. The body, let's talk about the body. Typically what I do is I will write the introduction first, and then I will build out the body of my post before I actually write it. This gives me a good idea of where the post is going to go, helps me to keep things organized, and I do this by including headers. Headers are a very, very important part of blogging or writing for web pages. They break the content up and make it easier to read and digest. It allows the reader to find information quickly if they need to, and there are different types of headers. This term has more to do with the coding that's involved, but it is very important for you to know what they are, because there may be some clients that want you to, make certain types of headers and indicate those. My main client has me using Google Docs to send them things. And so when I do that, I have to put the headers into the Google Doc. So header 1 is considered to be the main title of the post. So let's say if I'm writing a post and the title of it is, drug addiction in Boise, Idaho. Drug addiction in Boise, Idaho would be my header 1. It's the only header 1 in the entire piece. So header 2 is considered to be any of the main headers within the post. So let's say you have, your header 1, you have your introduction, and then you're ready to move on to your body. Header 2 is what you're going to use to indicate that this is the body of your post. So for that drug addiction in Boise, Idaho, my first header 2 might be, what is drug addiction? And then later on, I might have one that talks about addiction statistics in Boise, Idaho. Those would all be header 2s. Header 3 is considered to be the subheader that goes under header 2. And this can actually go on and on and on forever, but usually all you really need is headers 1, 2, and 3. So for header 2, we have what is drug addiction. Header 3 under that one, once we, explain what drug addiction is, header 3 might be types of drugs that lead to addiction. It still falls under the drug addiction header, but it's, it's kind of a part of that, and you don't want to make it its own thing, so it becomes a header 3. So once you've built your post, and you've got all the framework, all the headers are there, then it makes it easier for you to go back, okay, and you can go, okay, so now I'm talking about what is drug addiction. So then you do your research and you can start to write that section. And then you can go on and write the next section. Again, try to keep the paragraph short. 3 to 4 sentences is a great length. Bullet points are great. They really break up the content and make it easier to read for the audience. Google loves bullet points, and so make sure you include those in your post as well, if you can. You never want to force anything. If you don't have anything to list as a bullet point, definitely don't include it, but if you can, try to include the bullet points. So the last part is your conclusion. This is where everything gets wrapped up that you've written in the piece. You'll want to refer back to your hook sentence in this section, and you'll want to state what your end point is, whatever that may be. It's a good idea to refer back to the company name in the conclusion. It reminds the reader where the content came from, and you may even want to link to the company's homepage there and make their name anchor text. That's really good too. You want to end your post with a call to action, and we'll talk more about what this means in the next video. Some helpful tips. Avoid using the same keyword in the same paragraph more than once. This ensures that your keyword density doesn't get too high. Ask your client if contractions are okay. Many will not want you to use them. They won't want you to say things like don't or can't. They'll want you to say do not, cannot. It's up to personal preference and the type of tone that they're looking for in the post. Stick to the requested length for the blog post or web page. If you're given a range, for example, between 500 and 750 words, you always want to write closer to the higher number. Longer blog posts and web pages are better for SEO, and you get paid more when you write more words. So in conclusion, hopefully this is giving you a better idea of how to actually construct a blog post or a web page. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. So let me know, and I will see you in the next video.